Good afternoon, everybody on social media, all my friends out there. This is the second in a series of just short videos I'm doing. And as you saw with the Sean Maloney video, what I'm looking to do is tap into the skills of some of the leaders out in the field and skill sets that we can put out there to help everybody in the Karatbars community. I was just talking to Karen here, and I was saying that there's simple little things that Karen has taught me, and I mean really minute things she's taught me on social media that makes such a huge difference to me marketing online. Now this is a real unique and special skill that Karen's got. Karen's got an incredible skill of being able to connect with people and being able to being able to communicate in complex things into simple situations. So Karen, she's a wonderful lady. She's my friend. She's a silver director with Karatbars, although once you start going onto YouTube pages and the social media pages, you're going to see she's going to be rising up the ranks to elite ranks very, very soon. And she's also a heart-led business and intuitive marketer, and she's going to expand on that. And she's also a mum and a wife on top of all that. So I'm sure you've seen that, if you've seen any of Karen's videos, I'm sure you've seen that she really possesses some very special skills on the social media side of things, and she's agreed to come on and share some of those pearls of wisdom with all of us today. So I'll introduce Karen Richardson. And Karen, if you can maybe give us a little bit of background on yourself, and I'll just leave the floor to you and explain to us all these amazing things you're able to do on social media and attract people's attention.
Oh, thanks, Andy. Yeah, so I'm Karen Richardson, and I've been working online back since 2015 was when I started. And prior to that, I mean, I have done other entrepreneurial things. I've been a chauffeur. I've run a chauffeur company. I've had a photography company. And then when I settled down, had children, I thought, I don't really want to be going off all over the place doing things, and I want to be more settled. So I was actually doing a job as a school secretary, and it was just a nice stable little job, and I was just getting on with it. And then one day I was sat at my desk, and I had what can only be described as an intuitive download of, it's safe to leave your job. Now at this time my husband had just set up on his own in business, but we weren't at a position where it was, we still needed my income basically. But I sent him a message and I said, look, I think I need to, quit my job, basically. There's something else out there for me. And I always had this kind of feeling of greatness inside. And I think, probably a lot of people do feel this, but they don't know where it's going to go. But I just decided, do you know what? I'm going to follow this intuitive feeling because it was that strong. And I left my job. And then I just knew I had to do a Google search. I had to just see what comes up, and sure enough I ended up in online marketing, which was more where you get taught funnels and autoresponders and if I'm speaking French here, I do apologize, but basically teaching us how to do marketing online, emailing people, following up, and all that kind of thing. And it was what was known as high ticket marketing. And I was like, oh yeah, great, $1,000 commissions on sales. And it seemed like such a great idea. And I put a lot of money in, And, for 9 months, absolutely nothing, crickets, nothing at all. And funnily enough, what happened was I did something that was called cybernetic transposition, which sounds terribly scary. But what it is basically setting a vision for yourself. But it's taking an emotion from the past that brings you joy and makes you feel great. We call it the gold standard memory, actually, funnily enough. And you superimpose that feeling over the vision while you're envisioning what you want to achieve. And I've kind of gone deeper into this since then. But I set myself a monetary goal, to make $5,000 by the end of the following month. So it's only like 6 weeks away. And bearing in mind, for 9 months, I hadn't made a penny online. And then all of a sudden, my first ever sign up was Shameen Lakhani, believe it or not, from Team 113. And that's how we met. And I actually moved to another opportunity simply because I just found the training was so much better. And I just went out on social media and I was just like, wow, guys, you got to check this out. The training's amazing. It's really giving us a better understanding of how to do this online marketing thing. And people just flocked. They came and joined. I made 27,000 in 9 weeks. It went crazy, which, from nothing, that was a huge deal for me. And what happened at the same time, around that time, was that I started doing Facebook Lives. And this was back in 2016. And I was just like, wow, these Facebook Lives, they're really working. This is the secret sauce. Everybody should know how to do Facebook Lives. So I had all these people join my team and I was training them. I was showing them how to do Facebook Lives. Plus they were learning the system that was being taught to them by, the company I was with at that time. But there were still people who weren't getting it, who weren't getting any success in the business. And, for a good probably 18 months, I was really working hard trying to get these people, get them into traction, so they could start building their own businesses. And I felt very defeated in the end because they just weren't getting the breakthroughs. And I was thinking, why aren't they getting, I do Facebook Lives, it works for me. And there's other people doing solo ads and that works for them. And there's other people doing, Twitter and that works for them. And then one day it was in 2018, it kind of dawned on me and I thought, you know what? The reason this works for me is because I'm working in my zone of genius, if you like. It's just something that comes to me very naturally. It was very intuitive for me to work this way. And in a similar way, in our in network marketing, in online marketing, there's a lot of what we call shoulding, right? You should do this. So I was saying to people, you should do Facebook Lives. And the person who was running the program I was signing people up to was saying, you should do solo ads. You should do this. You should do that. Network marketers, you should write your list of 100 people and talk to everyone you meet, right? The thing is that none of them are wrong. None of them are wrong, but they might be wrong for you. And it's actually, I discovered what it was when I then started working with people in a different way, finding out where their zone of genius was, because some people are gifted at writing incredible posts on Facebook. Some people are really gifted at networking in person. Some people can do the list of 100 and they have the gift of the gab and they can really talk to people. And it's really actually finding that place where your strengths lie, where, you are, it's like I say, it's your zone of genius. It's what you're good at, and it's what feels good. And doesn't mean it feels comfortable always, because I know when I started doing Facebook Lives, it was painfully uncomfortable. I was terrible at it, but something about it, I just knew it was where I had to be. It felt right to me. And this is what you need to focus on. What feels good to me? What actually works for me? Because I found, because when you're in the marketing, people are saying you should do this, you should do that. So I should be doing this. I'm over here doing this. And my business is dropping off. Jump back into what I'm, feels right for me and what flows through intuitively for me. And all of a sudden my business picks back up again. I take my hat off to these great leaders who are doing great things, but what they're teaching isn't always what's right for you. And, this is where you now have to do a little bit of work, because you have to kind of work it out. Am I better at talking to people face to face? Okay, if that's the case, how can I put myself in front of more people? Maybe I need to go to a networking event. Am I better at writing? Or maybe I should build an email list if people are really captivated by what I write, and I'll get people on my emails or Facebook posts. And if you're good at, just presenting yourself on video, which just seems to be my zone of genius, and I'm good at writing Facebook posts as well. I have no trouble telling my story. That works for me. And I'm very much, as you say, I attract people. I'm an attraction marketer. That's exactly how I regard myself. and I get people signing up with me. I don't tend to have to knock on people's doors, and that feels more comfortable for me. But it doesn't mean I wouldn't talk to people who I felt actually this is a good fit here. But it is really tapping in to what works for you, and it really is that simple.
Do you know what, that is really powerful stuff you're saying there. I'll put my hand up. Okay, I was in the same position as you. This isn't working for me with other companies. What's going wrong? It's not so much what's going wrong, but it's a learning curve. I've never been afraid of being on a video, never been afraid of being on a mic, but I got scared at a Facebook Live. I got scared at a Facebook Live because you can't edit it. It's out there, it's live. So even for somebody like me who didn't mind being on camera, that didn't mind doing videos and things like that, when it came to, it was only this year I started doing Facebook Lives. It scared me. It really scared me. But then, yeah, you find a way to go over it. And I love what you said there, Karen, was focus on the zone of genius. And I presume you mean not just your own, but people within your team as well. Find out what their zone of genius is, and then maybe help other people using their zone of genius within the team as well. Is that what you mean?
That's exactly what I mean. It's kind of asking the questions, what do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? And you could probably, just from asking those questions, you can then maybe come up with suggestions as to how would be a better way of marketing themselves. I have a member of my team, Danny Green, and he's actually kind of a shy character, and I'm sure he'll see this, and I hope you don't mind me saying, Danny, but, but he writes the most incredible Facebook posts. Incredible. And that's absolutely his zone of genius. He's great at the copywriting. So it is really saying, okay, some people love writing, some people love talking, some people are good at presenting. What is yours? And actually, just sit down and think about this. And if you want to kind of go into an intuitive space, just sit down quietly and just ask yourself the question and see what comes in. Usually it's the first answer that will come through. This is how you should be, presenting yourself or working online, or maybe it's working offline. It is really tapping into what works for you. Because when you work, this is when you start getting into flow. You see, we can start talking about ease and flow, because my thing has always been, why struggle? Why try and do, you see other people doing something brilliantly, but why struggle to do that if it's not your thing? Yeah,
I think what I'm learning from this is sort of things that I've put into play before, but I'm going to focus things more. It's really finding out where your zone of genius is, using that for yourself and helping your team, finding where your team's zone of genius is and helping them help their team. Because when you start doing that, you're going to create a momentum within your team. And I think one big thing for me, which I just learned from you, is you don't have to know everything. You do not have to do everything. You don't have to. There's some basics we need to know, obviously, within this business. We need to know how to sign someone up, Karatbars Richardson, show them how to KYC. We need to do. But when it comes to everything you're talking about, there's so many skills within our teams that we can use. And what I love about this business, Karen, we're doing it right now. We're not in the same line. What you're doing. What you're doing and we're doing here, we're sort of cross-lining is what they call it in the industry. But in Karatbars, that means nothing to people. People want to help other people. Obviously, we need to focus on our teams, but things like this, we can get out to the masses. We can help our teams get out to the masses, bringing in skills like this. And I think the most powerful thing for me personally that's come out of that is you do not need to know and do everything yourself. Dig into your team, dig up line, dig down line, and find out where the skill sets are that maybe you're weaker on, that you can get help on, or maybe somebody would do something for you in exchange for you doing something for them.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think also you've got to look at what attracted you into the opportunity, because that's going to play a very big part in your message when you communicate that to people. And how was that? How were you drawn in? Was it a Facebook post? Do you spend a lot of time on Facebook anyway? So why not utilize it to build your business? the one thing I will say about this is people feel you. Okay, we have this energy field, and I know I'm dipping into the woo-woo here, but doesn't matter.
Joe Maloney listening to this?
But it doesn't matter whether you're on video. And by the way, if you think I'd like to try video, but I've never done video and I'm really scared, you've just got to start. There's no easy way around it. You just have to start, but you don't have to show people your original videos. You know, you don't have to. You know, you just start, and you'll find you'll get better and you'll get flow. I don't recommend using scripts ever. Maybe a few bullet points if you've got some things you don't want to forget to say, and just let it flow. But yeah, that's my tip for video. But also when you're writing a post, I tend to always come from a place of inspiration, and it's something that comes really from a heartfelt place. And when people read your posts, or they're watching a video or reading an email, or you're talking to them, they will feel where you're coming from. And you can't be disingenuous with this. And I think, you know, in the past it hasn't mattered to people, but I think it actually really does. It matters to me as someone who's bringing people onto my team, because I want people I would love to work with.
Yeah.
And if you're not coming from this heart-centered place of total integrity, you know, totally genuine, you're actually going to put off people who think you're woo-woo, or you know, who aren't on your vibe, as we like to say, who are not your, you know, your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe, but those people who are not on your wavelength, they're not going to sign up with you anyway, and that's fine, because you actually don't want those people in your team. The fact is, you want people who are a joy to work with. You want people who you will love working with, because that's what brings the joy into this whole networking thing. It is the people we get to meet and the people we get to work with, isn't it? That is for me one of the main driving factors, plus knowing that this is a heart-led company and it's providing a much needed solution to the world, you know, and this can help anybody. And
it is. And what another thing, God, this is brilliant, because God, you work so similar to myself and everybody that I'm connected with in my team, especially people like Naomi Sweet. I can't even name them all in my team. I think people get scared in this industry, and tell me if you found this the same. They get scared in this industry because when they see, oh, okay, there's a run on, where we're suggesting 20 people, 20 contacts a day. People are like, oh no, I've got to contact 20 people about the business every day. It's not. The contact is just a contact. And when I say to people, oh, this is what I do, I don't tell, suggest, okay? My suggestion I say to people is, rip all the contacts out of your phone, print them out, write them down or whatever. And just as you're saying there, Karen, just scrub off the people you don't want to work with. You don't have to work with those people. Scrub them off and put a tick next to the ones you want to work with, and connect with them, and just say, I haven't messaged Karen for ages. Hey Karen, how's things? How's the family? How's your online networking going? That's a daily contact, because I'm a big believer, and I know you can tell me you're the same, where I don't believe I'm in the industry of network marketing. I believe I'm in the industry of creating relationships. And when you create relationships, and I've proved this time after time, not just personally, but the people within my team, they've proved it time after time. There's certain people they want to work with and certain people they don't want to work with. When they focus on the people that they want to work with, they attracts like. Vicky Thomas is another one. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
They people attracts like. Is that what you find as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And the more you put your message out there, and this is the other thing, you know, I mean, just to sort of get back to the marketing side of things, if you're kind of thinking what exactly is I do, I'm predominantly on Facebook. That's my playground, if you like. That's where I put myself out there. I have built you know, my friend list of fellow entrepreneurs are out there. And the thing is, I don't just talk about the business. I think it's very important to talk about what's important to you as well, because then you are attracting those people. For example, I am a mum. I have 2 little boys. You can just see on the wall back there. I have a doggy who's sat at my feet right now. You know, these are all things that are hugely important to me. I have a great marriage with my husband. I love my crystals, and you know, I talk about all of this stuff, and I talk about meditation and coming from a place of hearts, because I know I want those people in my team, those people who aren't put off by all that stuff and think, oh, she's a bit weird, you know, that's fine. You can they can go and join Sean's team, you know. Because obviously Sean is very straight talking, you know. I didn't mean any disrespect there at all. I was just saying, you know, we are very, very different people. And that's what I mean, is by talking about everything, you know, and I don't mean throwing everything out there in public, but just letting people know who you are, what you're.
And that's going back to different skill sets in the team. There are different skill. That's what you mean. They're going back to different skill sets in the team.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and different approaches, you know, and different personalities. And like I say, Sean is very straight. This is how it is. This is how it all works, you know. And I'm more. I kind of build more of a, I suppose, a spiritual connection, you know, with people. And there's nothing wrong.
When you bring those two together,
yes,
you've got a powerful business. When you bring those two together, you've got a really powerful business. That's the essence. There's different skill sets. Bring those skill sets together, you got a super powerful business.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it does work, you know. And when you trust that you know what you have to say is important, and how you express yourself is important, and you know, you start then really having this influence of people around you, just people who are just interested in what you have to say in general, but also they're going to be interested in what business you're working in. And you know, people are looking for solutions. They are looking for people to work with who they like. One of my team members said to me, I wanted you as my mentor. And that's why she joined my team. She loves gold as well, which helps. But but she specifically wanted to work with me, you know, but because of how I present myself. She said, I just can tell you're just a really genuine person. She said, you're not like the rest, you know, whatever that meant. But that's what happens. People are attracted to you just by whatever you put out there. You know,
this conversation went down a totally different road I thought it was going to go down, to be honest, and I just let it run. It's absolutely brilliant. There's a lot of fantastic ways that you work. I was actually, what I wanted to do was ask you tips on what you do in social media, but we'll do that and maybe another time. We'll maybe do that a different.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I could just hit you with a few, and you know, so you got something to go away with. I think one of the best tips I can pass on when you are putting something out there on social media is always to attach some of your story to it. You know, something happened the other day. My little boy said, I want to be a billionaire. And I said, well, okay, darling, well, how are you going to do that? And he said, well, I'll go and get a job. And I thought, oh, bless him. I said, darling, you're not going to be a billionaire if you get a job. I said, you've got to create a solution to a global problem if you want to be a billionaire. And he went, oh, people will pay me for that. I said, yeah. Well, okay then. But that led beautifully into you know, a conversation about the global solution we're providing here at Karatbars. And it's little things like that, but also I think we all have a story about where we've been touched by recession and hard times financially, whether it's ourselves, our parents, you know, our family, our friends. I think we all know people who have had hard times. I've been through it personally myself. And I think when you can dig deep and offer that, people relate. And that is more powerful than, in my personal opinion, than okay, this is why gold is so important. This is why crypto is so important. Yes, those things are really important to know. But when you draw people in and they go, I get you because I've been there. That's my story too. That is so much more powerful. And is putting yourself out there in quite a vulnerable way. But it really, really connects with people, and then they will listen to what you have to say.
Totally
I
get
truly,
it.
truly believe that.
Totally
And
get
the
it.
other thing I would say is when you are posting on social media, let me tell you, it's not the people who are liking your posts. It's not the people who are commenting. You might get one or two commenting on your posts. It's the people who never ever say a word. They
Yeah.
are the ones. They are the ones they've been
Yes.
watching. They're watching you. So don't ever feel down if you're not getting engagement. They are watching you. Don't ever give up. You know, it might take a little while. I think there's a statistic, isn't it? People have to see something between 7 and 12 times sometimes before they'll take action.
Absolutely. And you're spot on there. I've experienced that numerous times myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we've got another 2 videos to do there. Okay. One's about your why sometime as well, because that was amazing on stage. To wrap up, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
I know you came into Karatbars roughly the same time as me in 2017. If Karen of 2019 could go back to Karen of 2017, knowing everything you know, what's here, what's coming, what advice would you give to Karen who's just started in Karatbars?
Okay. Well, Karen, who started in 2017, was being very successful in another opportunity at that time. So that's why I didn't really pay much attention to it until earlier this year. So yes, I would definitely say, look, this is all very nice and it's all happening now. However, this is not going to actually contribute to your future in the way that Karatbars is, and you're not going to be changing lives, because to me, Karatbars is about actually improving people's lives. It is turning people's lives around, and it's giving people who really had no hope of, making money on, and I really, without sounding really, cliche with the making money online, but I honestly believe you can't lose if you're a part of Karatbars. Worst thing is you're buying gold.
Exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that's worst case scenario. You've bought some gold.
And that's a common theme that runs through everybody we talk to, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, we do want to make money. Of course, we want to make money, and we do have to look after ourselves and love ourselves first before we can help anybody else to the extent we want to help them. But we can work on one while we're working on the other. And I think that's the common thread is everybody I've spoken to in this business with Karatbars, they all want to do what you just said there. And what better company in the world? That all comes from Harold Seitz's heart as well.
Yes.
Harold Seitz has got the biggest heart in the world, and I think that heartfeltness resonates into all of us. And when you're already connected to that, like people like yourself, it just expands it. It expands to anything's possible, to the quantum field. It expands to anything all possibilities exist. They really do.
Yeah, yeah. And I honestly do believe this is going to save a lot of people, especially with what's happening in our financial, without going into the gloom and doom side of things, but, what is potentially going to happen in the next few years, it's going to save a lot of people, myself included,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Karen, I really, really appreciate you coming on. That was fantastic. If you're not hooked into Karen's social media, I spoke to Karen before this, and I said, Karen has just got this amazing way. Her energy is incredible, but this amazing way of articulating complex things to make it simple. And I'll tell you right now, everybody watching this is only my personal opinion. I think the 15 needs to design a fantastic napkin presentation. The skill set that this amazing lady has got here, she narrowed that down to 15 minutes, very articulate, and it is now my go-to short video to send to people who want to take a look at it. So thanks for sharing that with all of us, Karen. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate you coming on, and we will be doing some more videos, I think, in the future.
Sounds fantastic.
Thanks, Karen. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.